Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zero F's Era. Now, I am coming to you this week after kind of skipping a week to talk about recovery and self preservation and how those things are necessary in the overall role of performance. Now, a little bit of backstory. The reason why we skipped last week is that it has been particularly hectic at work at a big event that I've been preparing for, and it all came to fruition last week. And it was crazy and chaotic and really intense, though at the same time also really rewarding. Amazing to get to see it all come to fruition, amazing to reconnect with people who I really genuinely love and respect. And it's almost like a big family reunion. So it's incredibly rewarding in the moment, but it is a really heavy lift. And for whatever reason, this year in particular seemed harder in terms of preparation and ramping up for it, which means that the recovery for that is all the more necessary. Now, I'm coming to you today from the Four Seasons in Vail. And the reason I mention that is because it is one of my absolute favorite places to recover and to relax and to spend time with my family. My husband and I have been celebrating our anniversaries here for years and years and years. So it's a place that's really kind of part of our family history. And so we're back here again and celebrating our 17th wedding anniversary. So yay us. And the kids and the dog are here and having a great time. And it's also one of my favorite places to just recharge. The truth I don't say aloud is that I have a really hard time shutting off and relaxing and recovering, especially when I've been running at a really frantic or fast pace. So, what I'm trying to do is understand why I have trouble relaxing and disconnecting, and then also sort of making myself do it. So, as I started to think through why it's necessary and why we should be doing it, I thought about the fact that I think women in general have a hard time putting their oxygen mask on first. Our natural tendency is to take care of everybody else. We never talk about how necessary it is to be off and to recharge and how that is a necessary part of peak performance. Now, it's interesting because athletes totally understand this. Athletes perform and they perform at the highest levels, but they also understand recovery periods and rest periods and taking days off. We don't really do that in the professional world. We don't really do that in our everyday lives. And I wonder why. Like, should we be looking to Olympic athletes for what we need to do to reach peak performance? Or should we just simply just embrace the fact that not everyone, actually no one, can compete or perform at their peak level all the time, and that we really need to recover and take care of ourselves. So the other thing I really thought about is the fact that we treat exhaustion like a badge of honor. Like, we'll go around talking about how we're so exhausted and almost like it's great that we've pushed ourselves to the point where we're about ready to bend and break, as opposed to being like, I'm reaching a point of exhaustion and I'm going to just check out for a little bit because I know that's what I need. Why do we do that? Why is it so important for us to talk about even how tired we are, but not what we're planning to do to fix it? And I think that for high achieving women, rest can be seen as unproductive, it's indulgent, it's even uncomfortable. And I think we kind of equate it to the fact that we're being lazy as opposed to taking the time that we really, really need. And so the tendency is to say, I'll rest when things calm down. And I think we can all agree that things do not ever, ever calm down. There is never a calm moment in anybody's life anymore. And if you have a calm moment, it's fleeting. It's not enough to really be able to rest and recover unless you do it with intention. So, I think that there is some invisible pressure to be available and responsible all the time. I don't think that this is unique to women. I think it's something that many professionals face, though I do think women kind of take it to heart. We have felt like we've had more to prove all throughout our careers, and we're natural caregivers. So that's our tendency. So I think that we feel like we have a responsibility to others to always be open and available and ready in case anything else comes our way. I would say that should be no guilt involved in taking care of yourself, especially when you've spent so much time taking care of others. And then I think we all collectively need to stop thinking that taking time off and truly disconnecting, like put down the iPhone, put down your iPad, lock away your laptop, whatever it is you need to do to really make sure you practice some discipline in disconnecting, do it, because there is nothing lazy about just putting the world aside right now. And I think right now, more than ever, we really need to disconnect from the rest of the world, not just from the workspace. And then last but not least, I think we all need to recognize that recovery isn't just about sleep. You can't have a good night's sleep and think that you are completely recovered and rested and ready to go again. You really need to be much more intentional about that. And in this day and age, I think we, as a society, at least in the US, we do not take personal time seriously. We take PTO in a way that is letting us off our leash and going to getting out of the office, but we're still tethered to everything else in the workplace. We are not separating our work life and our personal life, and we're still feeling it necessary to answer all those emails, to respond right away on Teams, to make sure we're reviewing our texts, whatever it might be. We're not just saying, okay, enough for this amount of time. I'm not going to be reachable. One of the things that I like to do to rest and recharge after this event, and again, I will own, I sometimes have to force myself to do it, is to go away to a different location. So after I have spent this incredible, intense week with all of my colleagues, I rededicate my time back to my family. And that's part of my recharging, is just reconnecting with the people who matter most. I head to Colorado, and that gives me a chance to switch to far more sensible footwear, but also to reconnect with nature, which is really important for me, to get outside, to see wide open skies, to hike, to have fresh air, just to do something that is physical out in nature really resets me. I also really reevaluate my diet. I spend a week eating all sorts of really late night food. And if I'm being honest with you, a whole stash of Cheez-Its that live in a bedside table next to my bed, because that is my greatest indulgence. So I make sure that I eat right and I reconnect with all of the basic food groups, not just the ones that I prefer. I get much better about hydrating and largely detoxing, though if I want to have a glass of wine or a glass of scotch, I'm not going to stop myself, but I really turn back to drinking much more water. I turn off notifications on my phone. This is really important. I don't want to hear about the news right now. The news is going to happen no matter what. I don't need to be part of it. I don't need to know everything that's going on at all times of the day. So I turn off my notifications, and I also say no to things. I say no to things that I would normally jump at the chance to do, or that I would normally feel obligated to do. And I allow myself some no. A little me time equates to some no time. And then I let myself be really unproductive for a moment. And usually that's for about a week. And then I start to get really itchy and antsy, and I really want to be productive again. But that's how I know I'm recharged. If I start to miss being in the conversation and being in the mix, then I'm ready to get back into it. If I feel obligated to jump back in, I am not ready. So that's the difference. I think there's something to letting yourself get to that point of recovery where you're ready to be back in your world again. So the old model is to work hard, push through, accomplish, and immediately bounce on to the next thing. And I think the healthier model is to work hard, accomplish, recover, recharge, and then get to go again. And the permission slip this week is to let myself adopt the healthier model and to stop pretending that the old model is in any way sustainable, because it is not. And so I'd like for everyone to quit pretending that recovery and self-preservation is not necessary, because it really, really is. And trying to push through and continue to perform at that same pace it's not sustainable. And taking time off is not the opposite of ambition. We spend so much time preparing to be our best. What I'd like to see is us spending time and learning how to recover, how to rest, and how to accept the fact that we don't always need to be everything to everyone all at once. But sometimes we need to be focused on ourselves and to the people that matter. And all those other things will be waiting when we return. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can follow us on Instagram at ZeroFsEra, or you can also email us at zerofsera@gmail.com. And remember to be all out of F's for the things that just don't matter so that you can focus on the things that do. Till next time, thanks so much and have a great week.